Okay, last time we created this damage clip audio and this shooting clip audio, and I just want to show you how to refactor. Whenever you look at your code and you notice that there are two methods that are essentially doing the same thing, you want to say, okay, how can I make my code itself a little bit cleaner, easier to read, and just like again, if there's a lot of repetitiveness, like notice that this is playing a clip, this one's playing a clip, they're really just doing the same thing. It's just for two different game features. One is when your character, your spaceship is hit, and then one is when your spaceship or your enemies you're shooting. So before we edit these two audio files here, let's create a third method that we're going to use, and I could probably just use this update function that I left here, and it's just called play clip. And what we can use this one for, again, is we're going to look at both these. We're going to find things that are similar, and then we're going to build out a new method that we can use so that we don't necessarily have to use these. Well, both of these have a damage clip and a shooting clip. And if we scroll up the top, you can see it's audio clip, damage clip. So we can just copy this variable here and then pass that in here. We could say, okay, we're going to pass in our damage clip or whatever into this. And we just call this clip. And then there's the camera transform here. And there's also a volume here that we could reuse. So let's take a look. So in case we forgot, well, what is our damage volume here? Well, it's just this value float damage. So we can just copy this, paste that inside of here. Then we want to put a comma to separate our parameters, and we'll just name this one volume. And we always want to generally check if our clip is there, right? We have a shooting clip or whatever. So I can just copy this, which is dangerous because if, you forget to alter something or delete something, you end up getting an error. But for now, we're looking at this if clip equals null, which is this one. All right, so what we can do is we can just save off this camera main that transform position into its own variable. And remember, position is an X, Y, Z variable here, so we can just create a new vector3 here. And we'll call this camera POS, make that equal to camera main that transform that position. And then we have this audio source here, right? And so we could just kind of place this up here. But what we're not doing is the damage clip here. We're just doing this clip. And then instead of this long line of camera.transform.position, well, now we're storing it. So we could just change that to this. Either one would have worked. It's just cleaner to have your own variable. So we could always modify this later if we need to. And then the damage volume here is just going to be the volume here. So this is kind of a cleaner, more way of doing these two, and you could just pass in whatever clip you want in your whatever volume, and so you don't necessarily have to have like 100 methods. If you have another third audio sound, which could be, enemy explosion or whatever, you just pass that in here. So now that this is like kind of our master method, we can just make these two our helper methods. So what are we looking at here? Well, instead of this this if statement here with the shooting clip, we're already checking if the clip exists. So we could just call that other method, if play clip, and then we're going to get an error here because it's asking for two things. One, it's asking for, it's asking for the two parameters here, which is the clip and the volume. So all I have to do is say, okay, well, which clip am I doing here? Well, I'm going to grab my shooting clip here, pass that in, and then my shooting volume, pass that in. And then I can delete all of this junk. And what's going on here? Oh, don't worry about that. Okay, so the next one is we're going to grab the same line of code, paste it here. And then this time, this should have been if damage clip is not equal here. I kind of messed that up, but damage clip and damage volume. So we can delete that out. So we save this now, and these are both helper methods that are just passing in those values to our master method. Let's test that. Yep, it's working. All right, that looks good. So that's a little bit of refactoring in this video. Anyway, in this lesson, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you soon.